Welcome to Sirappu Suvai channel. Today we will make a very tasty Pav Bhaji at home. For that I have taken 2 cups of Maida and 1 cup of wheat flour. I have made a well in the center of the flour and added 2 teaspoons of sugar. 2 teaspoons of sugar and 1.5 teaspoons of instant dry yeast. The instant dry yeast is a powder, so it can be added directly to the flour. If you have bought the dry yeast, which is like mustard seeds, you have to take half cup of lukewarm milk, add 2 teaspoons of sugar to the milk and the dry yeast to it, cover it and keep for about 10 to 15 minutes. When it will be activated and fluffy, add that to the flour. Now that I am using instant dry yeast powder, I have mixed it directly to the flour and I have added half a cup of lukewarm milk to it and mixed it a little. Now I have added 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 tablespoon of milk powder. By adding milk powder, the pav will be very tasty and it will get a nice color when it is baked like the store bought. Adding salt later is good because if the salt mixes directly with the yeast will not get activated. So now keep about 1 cup of lukewarm water, add water little by little and start mixing the dough. The dough should come together and after that you can knead the dough with your hand. Now gently keep adding water little by little, say about 2 tablespoons at a time, and keep mixing it till the dough comes together. It should be a little sticky dough, only then the consistency will be right. It should be like this and sticky. Only when it is like this the pav will be very soft. If the water is not enough, then the pav will be very hard. So when it is like this, keep mixing. There is no need to add any water or flour to it. When it comes together, it will be like this. It will not stick to the hand. All the flour is mixed together and the gluten has formed. So it will be a very soft dough. It should be of this consistency only. Now when you are mixing the dough, if you like butter, you can take about 20 to 30 grams of butter, melt it and add it to the dough. When the pav will be very tasty and very soft. If you don't use butter, you may add little oil to it. And now when the dough has come together, you will take 1 teaspoon of oil and brush it on the dough so that when it rises it will not dry. You have brushed the vessel also with oil so that the dough will not stick to it when it is rising. Cover it with a cling wrap, or if you don't have a cling wrap, you can place a plate on it and cover it with a kitchen towel because it has to be in the dark. It needs about 1 to 1.5 hours to rise. By then we will make the bhaji. For the bhaji I have taken about 200 grams of fresh cauliflower. I have peeled 1 large onion and kept it. I have taken about say a quarter of a beetroot, peeled it. I have peeled 1 large carrot and also I have peeled about 3 large potatoes. I have taken 1 green capsicum and 1 to 2 tablespoons of green peas. I have taken frozen peas, you may use fresh peas. I have taken 2 large tomatoes. If the tomatoes are small, you can use about 3 to 4. Now cut all the vegetables to small pieces and boil them with salt. They should be soft. The vegetables, the potatoes, carrots and cauliflower should be cut into small pieces. Add the green peas and cook them till they are soft and drain the water. Now cut the capsicum to fine pieces, cut the onions to fine pieces and cut the tomatoes to fine pieces. All the vegetables should be cut fine because we are going to mash all of them. Now drain the water from the vegetables, grate the beetroot, add enough water to cook it because we are not going to waste the beetroot water. Now let us make masala powder for the bhaji. I have taken 1 teaspoon of coriander seeds, 1 piece of cinnamon stick, 3 cloves, 2 cardamoms, 1 black cardamom and 2 petals of a star anise. There is no need to use the whole star anise, just take about 2 or 3 pieces of the petals, which will give a very mild flavor and it will be tasty. I have taken 2 bay leaves. The bay leaves are small, I have taken 2. If the bay leaves are large, you can take 1, that is enough. Now take about 3 to 4 red Kashmiri chilies, which are not spicy but they will give good color to the bhaji, and I have taken half a teaspoon of cumin seeds. I have dry roasted all the spices and put them in a mixer grinder. I have taken 1 teaspoon of garam masala, 1 teaspoon of coriander powder, 1 teaspoon of Pav Bhaji masala and 1 teaspoon of dry ginger powder. I have also added half a teaspoon of salt to it, and I have taken half a teaspoon of red chili powder. You may add 1 teaspoon of red chili powder if you like it to be spicy. Now make a nice powder of all the ingredients. It's a very aromatic masala powder. Now I am going to make chutneys for the bhaji. For that I have taken 2 green chilies, 1 small piece of ginger, 1 clove of garlic, 1 teaspoon of chutney dal, fried dal, and 1 handful of mint leaves, 1 handful of fresh coriander leaves. I have added half a teaspoon of the masala powder that we made, so that it will give a very good flavor for the green chutney. Add half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of sugar and make a fine paste of green chutney. Now for red chutney I have taken 4 to 5 Kashmiri red chilies, soaked it in hot water for 10 minutes, added a small piece of ginger and 1 clove of garlic, half a teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, and made a fine paste, and the green and red chutney are ready. Now on a pan or tawa, add about 20 to 30 grams of butter and about 2 tablespoons of oil. Adding butter will give very good taste to the bhaji, but if you don't use butter you may avoid it and add only the oil. Now when you add butter, it will melt in the heat of the oil. So when the oil is hot and the butter melts, add the finely chopped onions to it. Cook the onions on medium flame because the color should not change, but the onion should become soft. So when you cook it on slow flame, it will taste really very well. So keep sauteing for about 3 to 4 minutes. When the onions will be soft and the bhaji will be very tasty. Now saute for 2 to 3 minutes. If you are watching my channel for the first time, do not forget to subscribe, press the bell icon and choose the all option. So when I post videos, you will get notifications and you will not be missing any of the videos. You can watch the videos, try the recipes, enjoy it and comment without forgetting. Only when you comment I will know how it was for you by trying this recipe. Your comments are going to be a very great support for the channel, and it's also going to be very encouraging for me to post many more recipes. So I am sure that everyone are going to subscribe and try the recipes and comment without fail. Now add the finely chopped tomatoes to the onion. The tomatoes also should become soft because we are going to add the vegetables in one by one and cook them well and then mash them. All the vegetables should be mashed, only then the bhaji will be very tasty. Now saute the onions and tomatoes for about 2 to 3 minutes. When the tomatoes will also become soft, in about 2 to 3 minutes of adding the tomatoes, add the finely chopped capsicum. Capsicum also should become a little soft, so that it will be easy to mash it. When you add it at this stage, the moisture from the tomato will cook the capsicum. Now the capsicum, onion and tomato together are going to be very aromatic, and the taste will also be very good, and it will be very colorful and appetizing. Now saute for about 2 to 3 minutes and add the cooked vegetables. The cooked vegetables should be added. Now saute the vegetables with the onion, tomato and capsicum, and after that mash with potato masher. You should not mash it in a mixer grinder, you should not pulse it in it. The taste will not be so good. Only when it is mashed little by little and it is cooking in the pan, the taste will be really good. So saute the vegetables for about 2 to 3 minutes and now add the cooked beetroot. When you add the beetroot, it's going to give a real good color. When you add little beetroot, the color will be really beautiful. If you're going to add more beetroot because you like it, the color will be dark as a beetroot color. Now saute all the vegetables and add about 1 tablespoon of red chutney and 1 tablespoon of green chutney, which will be very aromatic. Now add the masala powder that we made and mash it with potato masher. If you don't have a potato masher, use a tumbler or use a flat bottomed vessel so that it will mash the vegetables really well. Now add really bubbling water little by little so that the vegetables will mash well and it will get the right consistency. So when you mash it, it will be very easy to mash it. It will be soft and mashed well. You can see that the water is bubbling. So it should be so hot so that it will be very easy to mash the bhaji. It should not be very fine. You can see the vegetables, but at the same time it should not be well blended. Now add little salt because you are adding water to it. You will have to add salt to it. Mix it well, mash it well, saute well, and the Kashmiri red chilies are going to give nice color to the bhaji and it will be very tasty. Mash it well, check for the seasoning. If you need salt or spice, you can add to it at this stage and saute well. The bhaji is done. Now add a lot of finely chopped coriander leaves. Only coriander leaves are going to give real good taste to the bhaji. If you like, you may add little lemon juice also. Sometimes you will not need it if the tomatoes are little sour. So check for it and then use it. Now the bhaji is ready. Now we will make the pav. The dough is well risen. Now just deflate it slightly. There is no need to press it or do anything to it. Just touch it, it will deflate. Now to make even sized pav, just make the dough to 4 equal parts and make 3 balls out of each part. When you will get 12 good sized pav. If you want to make it a little smaller, you will get about 16 pavs. Now flatten the ball, fold the ends towards the center so that the top of the dough ball will be very smooth. Now press it nicely. There should be no cracks and keep it in between keep it in the palm and don't use the index finger. With the other 3 fingers and the thumb, they should not touch each other. Put the dough ball in between the fingers and just roll it so that the pav will form very well. On the baking tray, put a parchment paper and arrange the dough balls in it. Cover it with a cling wrap, cover it with a kitchen towel and leave it for about 30 to 40 minutes so that it will double in size. Now take room temperature milk and brush it on the pav. Brushing milk will give the moisture that it requires to bake, and also it will give the golden color like the store bought. So you have to brush with milk. See that the milk is well brushed, and keep it in 200 degrees Celsius oven for 17 to 20 minutes when the pav will be really beautifully done. The bhaji is ready and the pav is also well baked and it's very beautiful. As it cools, the color will spread. Now brush butter on top of it. If you don't use butter, you can brush oil on top of it. Leave it for about half an hour to 1 hour to cool a little. When you get the great, wonderful, like or better than the store bought pav, you will be very happy to have made such a wonderful dish. The pav with this bhaji is going to be a great combination. You will be very happy. Children are going to be very happy and they love it and they will eat the pav and bhaji. And when the pav cools a little, it will be very soft. It's going to be very soft like this, and it is well cooked inside. So enjoy the pav bhaji. Let's meet in the next video.